We've been struggling with confidence, which is what conference season does to you. We've practiced really well headed into Arkansas, and after the game, I told the public, because I also told the team the same thing, even though I was extremely disappointed in the second half, I thought we went out and played more to our personality in the first half against Arkansas. And then we had two really, you guys have been around me for a while, man. I like practice. I like things done well in practice. I like practice to have a certain tempo, a certain attitude, a certain personality, a certain discipline. And we were really good leading into this game. I was disappointed in our bench in the first half. I thought we started the game the way we played, how we closed the game. We just missed some shots. James had threes, and we just missed. But, our bench came in, and, they're trying to – if you were in the arena, you could hear TC Tom Crean, yelling, drive the ball, drive the ball. And our help defense was really bad. Just all we did was foul. In the second half, I thought our help defense was great. Taquan Woodley was a stud defensively. It gave us a presence at the paint, and which allowed us to get out there and run by not fouling every play.
Let's go back over to John. Whittle's first one.
What can that second half do for Keyshawn and Jermaine individually? It seems like they've struggled a lot this year, but made a lot of plays to help with that comeback.
Yeah, I'm happy for both of them. John, those two guys could have gotten out and left. It's in today's day and age of transfers, they could have left and gone somewhere else to play their last year, especially after how bad we were last year. And those two guys said, no, we're staying. And we've been through the ringer, us three, those two guys and me. We've had really good days, and we've had some other days in private, obviously, that no one knows about that haven't been a whole lot of fun. But they've never turned their back on me, and I'm not going to turn my back on them. And Keyshawn, I think you've heard me say, has practiced really well since we got back from Christmas. And he just needed to have good moments in a game. And I thought he offensively, not because he made threes. When's the last time you saw him out in the open court finishing plays? And that's what he does for us, steals and just, it's what he does. And he was really good. Eric's personality just wouldn't allow anybody to give in. I think Jermaine, it's been a hard year for him. It's hard to be at peace of mind, man, when your body's just breaking down every other day on you. And he practiced pretty good going into Arkansas, but he wasn't in a mental space to put him in the game, and I'll leave it at that. And but then best two practices is October for him were the last two, and so I expected him to play well today, and he went out there and did that. I'm happy for that. We need those guys to be good players for us, and they both did that.
David, back left.
Frank, a couple for you. First, the immediate update on Devin, if you have one.
Strain, hamstring, whatever that means. It's that was whispered to me as I was walking out of the locker room. So I don't know. They used to say pulled. I never pulled a hamstring. I never ran fast enough. But they used to say pull. When you heard sprain, oh, okay, it's going to be a pull. That's a problem. Now it's strain, so I don't know what that means. But that's what I was told.
And then second half, it seemed like you guys, outside of the transition in your set offense, you made a conscious effort to drive the ball more, play at the rim more. Was that a halftime adjustment?
Yeah, we got to make some threes. I mean, don't get me wrong. That Eric Jermaine made back-to-back threes and then Keyshawn made another, and it just kind of it changed. Their defense was predicated to keep us out of the paint. I thought early in the game, we took good threes. Then I thought we started settling for threes, which is a big difference. But it's the bottom line at the end of the day, the difference in the game is we didn't foul every single play. Our help defense did its job. On the ball defense, we didn't reach, we didn't grab, we moved our feet. And then when they tried to drive us, our help side defense didn't get out of the way, didn't grab, didn't foul. They did their job, and then we rebounded, which allowed us to get out and run. And our team You know, we've had shirts made and signs put up all over the arena says guard and go. And it's what we do. We guard and we go. And when we do that, we're pretty good team. These guys are good dudes. I don't come here in September and tell you I like a team and then tell you in November and December I like a team and then dislike them because we lost some games. They're good dudes. We got to deal with this. This last 3 weeks is going to make us a much better basketball team.
Michael Lanano?
What was the spirit like for this team just in halftime with how things were going and how important were guys like, Jermaine and Key and some of those veteran guys and keeping people upbeat and keeping people in the game?
Yeah. I told them at halftime, I said, if you guys are not going to have fight in your gut, I can't help you, man. I don't sit around and claim to be the best X and O basketball coach in the history of mankind, but I can X and O with the best of them. And I'm at peace with that. I don't need to prove that I'm a great X and O coach. But if players don't have fight in their gut, it's really hard to be a good basketball team. And that's all I said. That's pretty much all I said at halftime. And then we came out the second half and we played with a purpose. Offensively, we didn't settle. We tried to get it in the paint. Defensively, we didn't reach and foul and get out of the way. We actually sat down and played for one another rather than play for our own selves, and which is who this team had become until we got disrupted at Christmas time, right before the Clemson game. It started. And then we were disrupted from before the Clemson game till we got back 2 days before Auburn. So I don't remember. We play Auburn like a January 4th or something. On January 2nd, first time we had we didn't practice on the first. On January 2nd, first time we had our whole team again, except Taquan Woodley. He didn't arrive till the night before the Auburn game. And we were disrupted. And if you're going to be disrupted, you can't – I'd rather be disrupted before conference plays and you get ready to play number one team in the country. But it is what it is. It's the hand we were dealt. It's not an excuse. We've been battling. We got good dudes. We got to – take this game today and get our spirits back in a better place and build on it.
Colin?
Frank, just how much of a, you've kind of talked about guard and go, but how much of a proof of concept was that 24-0 run for you guys in terms of getting the ball in the paint, opening up lanes for the shooters, and turning defense from Daquan and those guys into offense?
I know how much that crew in there cares. I know how hard I make them work. I know how hard they want to work. It's hard. I mean, we were not any good, and I'm going to say this without any disrespect to the opponent. We were not any good against Florida. That's the first time this year that I left this arena and I was disappointed, practice or games, disappointed with our disposition, with our approach, with how we played. I was very disappointed. But outside of that, these guys have been good. I was just happy to see some of the guys. Eric has been, getting in his own head about making threes. Well, he hadn't made any in today. He made one early in the game, then he had missed some. And a crucial point in the game where we needed a bucket, jumps up and sticks a three. And, Jermaine and Keyshawn, we just talked about them, getting out in the open court and converting and playing for each other and having the courage to make plays when you needed them. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch, and I hope it's something that all three of those guys can utilize, because those are the guys, them three and James are our team leaders. And I hope those are things and they're also the most experienced players on our team, that they can use so they feel better individually, so we can continue to push and build.
Alex Jones on the right here.
You kind of touched on that just a second ago, but how good was it to see your veterans take ownership in the second half and really lead that comeback?
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I say this all the time, and not obviously some coaches are scared to say stuff because then it's used against them in recruiting. I love freshmen, but you don't win and lose because of freshmen. You win and lose because of the experience on your team. And not experience that's been around for 4 years and never plays, the guys that play. And, those four guys that I mentioned, they've played a lot of college basketball. They've won a lot of games, and they've made great plays to help the teams that they've been on win games, whether it was Jermaine and Keyshawn here, whether it was Eric at Wichita, or whether it was James at North Texas. That's what it's about. Teams that get better as the year goes on are usually led by veteran players because they've been through it, they hold people together, they don't get wrapped up in personal stats and good game, bad game, they're prepared for the next day, and that's what those guys do for us.
Hannah Marine in the back, Watchdogs.
Yeah, Coach, just over the last few games, you've talked about the positivity and focusing on that. In that moment, in that 24-0 stretch, the CLA is probably as loud as it's been all season. It looked like I saw a few fist pumps from you. Just what did that energy feel like, and just how proud were you for your guys for finding that confidence again to make that moment?
You know, you got that old saying, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And meaning you play good, your fans help you, or do the fans help you to play good? Who cares? The bottom line is that we're in this together. We need the fans to help us. We need our players to play better. And we can't be on an emotional roller coaster, fans, players, and coaches, after every game. We can't be great today because we played a certain way and the CLA was rocking. That second half was awesome. We've built this place. Okay, I'm going to rephrase this because this gets lost in translation sometimes. You know, this building had been sold out one time in its history. Once. We sold it out 5 times since I've been here. Okay? We had this place rocking. There's opinions as to why it stopped rocking. I can't blame last year. Heck, there was no one in the building last year, and it was a crazy year. But when our fans are behind our team like they were in the second half today, and the student section is packed the way it was, it gives your team courage. And when our guys play the way they do, they deserve people to come watch and support them play. We got to figure that one out. Players, coaches, fans, you know, we got to stay in the journey. But that was fun. I like having fun. You know, I know you guys all sit around and write about what a grouch I am. Ain't nobody laugh more than me in life, man. Maybe Phil. Phil might laugh more than me. But I love having fun, but there's 40-minute games, man. That's not fun. That's work. You know, I'm sure the CEO of companies, they don't walk into their staff meetings, all right, boys, let's high-five each other today. We're going to have a great day. It's time to do our jobs. Got to close the deals. We got to get stuff done. But that was fun. Second half was fun. I hope, because I said this before the season, I'm going to say it again. This is a really fun team. You know, we've had our feelings hurt for the last 2 home games. And Auburn hurt our feelings, and then Florida, we were really bad. We didn't deserve anybody to cheer for us the way we played against Florida. But I hope Wednesday night when Vanderbilt comes in here, our fans are behind our team and appreciative of the effort our guys have played with every home game this year.
Mike Hua, front left.
Frank, just being able to get that presence today with Woodley, especially in the second half, and not just being able to play defense as well as he did, but being able to turn defense into offense quickly for you. How big is that in just the style that you like to play defensively? Because I think so many people look at it as, all right, they like to play defense, but being able to turn defense into offense quickly.
Yeah, Taekwon's really smart. He knows what we do. We got to get Wildens back on board. Wildens is kind of fallen off a cliff here in the last 2 weeks, and it's so disappointing because he's worked so hard. So we've got to figure out Wildens, like what TQ did for us today is what Wildens has done up until 2 weeks ago, every single game. And but TQ was practicing his tail off and really growing, gotten himself in shape, much better when we left for Christmas. And then you know what happened. And he didn't get here till the night before the Auburn game. And he's kind of regrouped. He's gotten back in gear again. And he brings a toughness, a discipline, a mindset that we need. And he turned. Like, we can talk about the threes and all that. That was awesome. But the reason we got out and ran is because he protected the paint. He protected the ball screen defense. He protected their big. They tried to run an ISO for their big to drive him. He said, nope, give me the ball, and got us out in the open court. And that's he's a good player, and he's going to have a great career.
Cam Gaskins in the back.
Hey, Frank, Yuva just kind of took my question. I was going to ask about Taekwon, too. So did you have fun in the snow last night? Wanted to see if you had any chance to get out and play in that a little bit.
Well, it's funny you asked about snow after Mike asked me a question because, you know, he grew up in snow. I grew up in sunshine. And It was actually pretty neat, you know, because I lived in Boston, Cincinnati, and Kansas, and at this time of year, what we end up getting, 3 inches? 2.5, yeah. That was like just an average Tuesday in those cities I'm talking about. And you know, yes or no? It's an average Tuesday. If you're in Boston, you get 3 inches, it's like, what happened? But it was fun. My wife and I sat there and you know, and saw that snow coming. We hadn't seen it in a while. And I tell you what was fun this morning, watching my dog run in the snow. You know, that was fun to watch. I used to have my dog run on concrete in Miami. Now I'm seeing my dog run in snow. I thought that was pretty neat. It's a new one for me. I didn't own a dog until we got here, so it's the first time I get to see my dog run in snow.
All right. I think with that, we'll end it. Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.